Joining us now for tonight's big close-up is Texas Congressman Chip Roy. Congressman, that sounds like a great idea to me, but tell us about your legislation, why it's necessary to not just stop illegal immigration, but to pause all immigration.
Yeah, great to be on. Happy Saturday to you all. And, thanks for showing the absurdity of Benny Thompson and what he said in referring to the murder of one of our brave soldiers here in the nation's capital, a few blocks from the White House, as an accident. Another still fighting for his life. This is what we're dealing with. This is the radical Democratic Party that are more interested in playing politics and trying to focus on protecting those who want to endanger Americans than standing with an administration and the President and Secretary Noem who want to secure Americans. So you asked me about the Pause Act. The fact of the matter is we have 51.5 million people in this country who are foreign born. That's about 16% of the population. That's higher than at any other point in our history. So go back to 1920, where we had maybe a similar percentage. It was about 15%. And we had a whole bunch of people who had come here who, by the way, were more interested in assimilating, who were participating in schools that actually taught that America is great, and when we had no social welfare state. Today, we have millions of people who have come here who don't want to assimilate, who aren't in schools teaching that America is great, and they are on the social welfare state. We need to pause immigration. We need to fix our system. We need to end diversity visas, end chain migration, the kind of people that allow their cousins and uncles and aunts to come in. We need to stop the abuse of H-1B visas. We need to end birthright citizenship. We need to codify what the president has done. We need to stop having taxpayer funding of illegal alien children in our schools, as we do in Texas and everywhere else, and we've got to center our entire immigration system. So pause and let's fix it. I think we need that for the country. We did it in 1920. Our country was stronger for that for about 4 or 5 decades. And now for 50 years, we've been blowing the lid open and allowing people to come here, including radical Muslims, radical Islamists who want to undermine Western civilization and our way of life. It's time to pause it and fix it.
Congressman, first of all, I agree with you on that, but I want to talk to you about something that's probably more relevant today than it should be, considering the tragic events that happened just before our show. Yeah. So your fellow Texan, Senator Ted Cruz, has a piece of legislation that he's introduced to designate the Muslim Brotherhood as a terrorist organization. It was kind of weakened, I guess, on the House side, and he's ripped them for it. I know that the chairman of Judiciary, Jim Jordan, backs this bill. I believe you do as well. What are the politics we don't understand to designate literally the group that brought radical Islam to the world as a terrorist organization?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was weakened in the Senate. I think Senator Cruz was frustrated by that. I'm a co-sponsor of the House version of that bill. Senator Cruz is absolutely correct. President Trump has been doing a magnificent job pushing back on radical elements who want to come to the United States. I think Senator Cruz is absolutely correct to say that we need to designate them as terrorist organizations, just like, by the way, Governor Abbott just did in Texas, who also declared CARE a terrorist organization. And you know what? I introduced legislation to take away the tax status of CARE. We should pass Senator Cruz's bill. We should pass my bill to take the tax status away from CARE. We should pass my bill to vet people for Sharia law. We should pass the Pause Act to freeze immigration. All of this matters because you have a radical bunch of Islamists who want to remake America in a coordinated way, and you're seeing it unfold in Texas, where you've got Epic City in Plano, an Islamic center in Houston. You've got Dearborn, Michigan. You've got Minneapolis and what you're seeing happen there. You have Mamdani getting elected in New York, and all of these folks have ties to very radical organizations and elements, and we need to address it. And you start with the Muslim Brotherhood, which is the head of the snake.
Congressman, you just saw Kristi Noem getting asked these ridiculous questions, asking her to quit if the president doesn't fire her first. I think she's doing exactly what the president wants to do, so I'm pretty sure he's not going to fire her. But Democrats, nonetheless, are not wasting any time working to impeach several Trump cabinet members, including DHS Secretary Kristi Noem, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. They hate that name, by the way, Secretary of War. They're like, no, it's Secretary of Defense. Like, no, he's defending our country. That would be war. And HHS Secretary RFK Jr., what the heck has he done wrong?
Well, first of Yeah, first of all, President Trump has built a magnificent cabinet. These people are some of my very close friends in the world. All three of those individuals are good friends of mine. I stand right behind them. I stand behind President Trump. The American people stand behind them because they're doing what they want us to do, which is secure America. Pete Hegseth is restoring the military. If you watch the Army-Navy game today, what a magnificent event.
Yep.
Watching those men and women in uniform. And guess what? Enlistments are up. Application to the academies are up.
Yeah.
Secretary Noem, Tom Homan, Stephen Miller, the great men and women of ICE and Border Patrol, they're securing our border. They're removing bad actors, removing gang members. We're stopping Tren de Agua. We're stopping, the violent gangs that are endangering our people. And you've got the leadership from Secretary Kennedy to go after the ridiculousness of the vaccine abuses, what happened under COVID. He's restoring integrity there to seek scientific data. This is what the American people want. I stand behind President Trump. These impeachment efforts are ridiculous, right? They did it to Trump twice. In 2019, they did it again in 2021. This is all theater that they want to pursue. We had to go beat back an attempt to impeach the president just this last week. Now they want to impeach these great cabinet members. Look, Mayorkas was impeached by the House. I led that effort, along with a number of my colleagues, because he endangered Americans. Jocelyn Nungray died. Her mom is a dear friend of mine, and Jocelyn Nungray in Houston died because of the abuses of this administration, or that administration, the Biden administration, and Mayorkas. So that was endangering the American people. These three want to protect America following the president's leadership.
That's right. And Congressman, just switching gears here for a moment, health care premiums, they're set to rise for millions of Americans at the end of the month. And this comes after the Senate failed to reach a deal this week. White House Republicans unveiled their own health care proposal yesterday. It doesn't include an extension of Obamacare subsidies. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, well, what we've got here is a situation where the American people are feeling it, right? They can't afford the health care of their choice. Why? Because Democrats broke the system. And now the solution Democrats are offering is to print money in the Treasury, take those dollars, and to go put it in the pockets of the very insurance companies that have been enriching themselves for the last 15 years in crony coordination with despicable people in government who are profiting on the back of the misery of American people. We want to stand alongside the American people. They ought to keep the insurance that they've got. We ought to provide a freedom option so they can go get affordable care, go get direct primary care, have expansive health savings accounts, be able to go to health sharing ministries, be able to have all sorts of options so that the American people can choose what's best for them. We choose doctors and patients, not insurance bureaucrats or government bureaucrats. And now the administration wants to lead and go forward. We are rightly going to reject this enrichment of insurance companies. The president said it best. His instincts are great. He is leading in the right direction. Let's not give money to enrich insurance companies. Let's stand with the American people and empower them. We are going to present strong health care solutions as early as this week into next year on prescription drugs, on freedom of choice to be able to get the insurance you want, go to the doctor of your choice, and we're going to continue to lead. Democrats should not be able to, leverage the fact that they broke the system and then complain that it's broken.
You got that right. Congressman, I want to ask you about 2026. You are one of several House Republicans who won't seek re-election this year as you make a run for Texas Attorney General. Are you worried that some of these retirements are going to hurt Republicans in the midterms? We had a special election in Tennessee. It came out the right way, but a lot of these special elections maybe not going so well or as well as we'd like for Republicans. So do you have any hesitation or concern?
Not at all. President Trump is leading this country in the right direction. Congressional Republicans are as unified as I've ever seen them. Look, there are things that I think we ought to be doing. We ought to lean more into passing better border security bills, election integrity measures like my SAVE Act that the Senate and Chuck Schumer are blocking. We need to get on offense, in my opinion, over this next year. And if we do that, we will win next November. I'm running for Attorney General because we got to save Texas. If we lose Texas, we lose America. And we need to go back and fight the radical Islamists, the Marxists, and the people putting criminals on the streets in Texas. We need to stand strong on a secure border. If there's ever unfortunately, another Biden-type administration, that's why I'm leaving. I'm not leaving from anything that's bad here. I'm leaving because I need to go help save Texas. And a bunch of my colleagues, they're stepping up. We also believe in limiting our terms to some degree. And I've been here. This will be 4 terms. It's time to go home, to be with the people of Texas and stand to defend them. We'll do just fine next November if we stand alongside President Trump and we lead and we deliver for the American people as the president campaigned on, and we did.
Congressman Chip Roy, thank you so much for joining us on this Saturday. We certainly
Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.